Hi, this is Rick Horton, and I want to go over my PowerPoint for Module 5, Understanding My Community, Mission Valley. First thing I'd like to say about Mission Valley is it's actually three communities that come together, consolidate to make one high school. Primarily, we're in the towns of Dover, Harveyville, and Eskridge, so it's a little bit different. So some of my numbers I didn't take. I took the census for Wabaunsee County since that's mainly where we are, and that way we make the numbers a little bit better. The customs and traditions for our community, mostly Methodist communities, but there's a close second Catholic, strong agricultural backgrounds. Most of our families either have or work or help with farms. Simple lifestyles, most are employed by some type of ag-related field. Strong involvement for youth sports, especially within our communities, like town rec ball teams. We have a ton of those. Some of them will go into Topeka and play on more competitive teams, but a lot of them stay out there and do the rec. We also have a strong FFA involvement with the high jobs in agriculture. That shouldn't really be a surprise, but we actually have an FFA team that competes very highly on the national level. Opinions from our community do affect the policy and curriculum in our school. And our school is, again, like I said, composed of three different communities. The communities consolidated to make the one school district in 1972, and then in 2005, the communities all shut down their elementary schools and moved them into one building. So our building out in the middle of nowhere actually is a K through 12 building. It's kind of a cool concept. It's an equal distance away from all three of the towns. It's actually like 7.5 miles from each one of the three towns. So kind of a cool concept. Um, Population and characteristics: 95% of the adults 25 or above have a high school diploma. Only 23% of a BS or higher. In our community, 6.2% of the population is under 5, 24.2% of the population is under the age of 18, and 18.8% is above the age of 65. In our community, 49.1% of the population is female. Again, we are an ag economy area. 64.9% of the 16-year-old or older work at a civil labor force. Um, we're 95.8% white, 0.7% black or African American, 0.9% American Indian, and 3.6% Hispanic. 8.3% of our population live in poverty. The Census Bureau did say that's an estimated number, and I think that's a little low. I think it's actually higher than that, and then some other further slides will talk about why I think that. How do we get to know our communication channels in our area? We rely some on local newspapers. The Topeka Capital Journal is one of the bigger newspapers in the state. It puts out a newspaper every day. The Wabaunsee County Signal is a smaller newspaper. It's a weekly newspaper. We have several local radio stations I've listed here below. What's kind of cool about them is, when you Google the radio stations, these are the ones that come up for Topeka, and it's a wide variety. The AM station does a lot of cool stuff with like high school sports and like the Royals and the Chiefs. And the rest of them, one's a rock station, one's a classic country, one's like a contemporary pop, one's a a pure pop, one's classic country, and one's like a 10 in a row station. So it's a little bit of everything. Um, Social media like Facebook and Twitter is huge. That's how they get so much of our information is passed along through our communities there. I think our community really does get its news and information from those combinations of things. I know the community groups. We have some church groups. The biggest is probably the Knights of Columbus and just the youth groups in the area. As far as arts in the community, being such a big ag, we have a lot of 4-H, but mainly if we want to do the actual arts performances, you have to go into Topeka for like the Topeka Performing Arts Group. Parent teacher organizations, they're all depending on the school. Again, I know I said we're in one building, but it really still is broken up into an elementary school, a junior high, and a high school. And really, the parent teacher organizations are a lot more involved at the elementary level. Booster Club is very involved with our activities and everything that we do at the high school. Our leadership, business owners and leaders, church leaders, school boards, prominent community members, they all really take the forefront of the leadership group of our communities. Community leader characteristics. They're able to handle the current situations. They have clear visions. They're widely known and accessible. That's the other thing cool about all the small towns that we have is everybody knows everybody that's in the in the leadership groups. They're easily approachable, people you can talk to. Um, they all know or have access to the information that's out there and need to be known in that circle, and they understand the community and their needs. Our economic conditions, our middle class is really decreasing out there, and some of that's due to falling ag prices. A lot of that cattle farming is big in our area. A few years ago, there was a lot of blizzards up in the like the North Dakota area that killed off a lot of cattle. So we were getting a lot higher price for it here in the Midwest. People were buying more cattle, and then when the cattle population came back to North Dakota, it's really drove the prices down, and that's affecting our community some. Our average household income is 54,688. Again, the census said that 8.3% live in poverty. We have an 8% tax rate in Wabaunsee County, a 1.36% property tax rate, but 33% of our schools at USD 330, our students, I'm sorry, 33% of our students at USD 330 are on free or reduced lunch. Political structure, politics and education really go hand in hand in our community, with the school board being a hot seat going into this election. It's important for our community to be able to see what the candidate's vision for the school are, um, and figure out which one of those closest aligns to their vision. In Wabaunsee County, more money is spent in the schools and education than in any other function of our government. Race issues, we don't, we're not a very diverse school, as you kind of probably noticed from these stats from before. When minority students move into our district, we really have to try to make them feel welcome. It's not always that they're accepted, and some of it's just that they're different. And I don't even know that's due to the race. It could just, our school can be very cliquey. There's a lot of groups, and some of that discrimination, not like race, but kind of by social status also. Some of the causes of that are just misunderstanding, economic rivalry, cultural differences, social class competition, racial discrimination. We've actually had to come up with like a discipline matrix on how to handle these situations in our school. We're kind of dependent. It's just kind of a rubric that states what was happened and how the discipline was going to be occurred due to that. Extra sources of information. There's online resources, the Chamber of Commerce, our school board minutes, personal interviews, the Census Bureau, and like a staff inventory. Power structure. One of our biggest power structures is the teacher negotiations team. We went through a rough contract dispute this year. Um, Prominent community members, the way they try to sway votes to achieve what they want. That was another big deal with that negotiations team this year. There was a really strong group that backed the parents. Uh, we were getting ready to go into fact finding, but this parent group brought so many people to school board meetings. They talked so favorable about the teachers and wanted to be able to retain teachers that the school board called for another emergency meeting and the contract was settled. Groups and the community members that join together fight for a cause, and that goes right along with what I was just talking about. Know the multicultural issues of our school. This is definitely an area of need in our community. We have students that move in or transfer from different cultures, and some of our students do not accept them. We've installed a matrix when students do not respect each other's differences. I talked about that earlier. Most teachers and administrators really do a great job of handling multicultural issues. A lot of our teachers have taught at big schools, small schools, and taught all around, so they're not used to it. It's just trying to get our kids to open their eyes and treat people with respect. The power structure of our school really goes to the school board. We have a very strong-willed, strong-minded school board, down to our superintendent, then our principal, assistant principal, and then the teachers. Measuring public opinion. How do we do that? First off is our school site council. Our school board meetings where they're open. If someone wants to speak, they can get on the agenda and speak there. Social media, again, I talked about that earlier. It's such a big deal in our area. So many of our people speak out on social media. Our school, the parents really have um, wanted and talked to the school. We have social media accounts for our school and almost every different club and activity group at our school. The parents wanted us to create Facebook and Twitter feeds, and they really do a good job of following us that way. And not just for spreading word of mouth, but kind of just to tell all the good things that are going on in our program. The school website also has the school board's members posted there, and then our school leaders when they get out and speak, and when they're in public and can speak about the good things that we've got going on. Public opinion surveys. Surveys can be provided, can provide a very precise way to get information from our communities. We can find out what they like that we're doing, what they don't like that we're doing. There's a lot of different methods we could do that. One would be a mailed out survey. One would be a telephone interview. Another is a personal interview. An online survey, that we email to parents through something like SurveyMonkey or something like that. Or they should drop off and pick up surveys. Personal interviews are still the best way to get information from stakeholders. People are more likely to take the time for the survey and to be honest with their answers if it's a face-to-face interview. And that's all my information about our community of Mission Valley. I hope this was beneficial to some of you, and thank you.